Once again, we want to spotlight the upcoming internal elections within the New Patriotic Party, the NPP. The New Patriotic Party is entering a defining period as it prepares for its national internal elections in October 2026. Following its defeat in the 2024 general elections, the party is undertaking a process of reflection, reorganization, and leadership renewal. With delegates expected to elect national executives who will guide its rebuilding efforts and also position the party for elections upcoming, my guest today is one of the personalities who's seeking a leadership position within the party and has therefore declared his intention to contest for the position of a first vice chairman. Widely known for his role as the party's director of communication, he has been one of the party's principal public spokespersons, defending party policies, articulating its political position, and responding to national issues. His bid represents a transition from communications leadership to organizational leadership within the NPP. As Ghana's democratic system depends significantly on strong, accountable, and internally democratic political parties, this conversation goes beyond one individual's ambition to examine how major political parties renew themselves, maintain internal cohesion, and contribute to strengthening democratic governance. Help me make welcome to today's national discourse, none other but Mr. Richard Ahiagbah. Welcome to National Discourse.
Thank you.
How have you been?
Been well.
You have been busy lately.
Yeah, I've been busy. As you know, the campaign is at a point where we all must engage.
Sure.
Engage by interfacing with the delegates who would have occasion to vote on October 3rd in Kumasi to select the leadership of the party, that's national, from chairman to national organizer for the party. And so we've been going around. We've engaged the entire northern regions, northern, northeast, upper east, upper west, Savannah. We've gone through there, and we have a very strong indication of people embracing our grassroots reform agenda. We just finished yesterday OT region, and then we started the eastern region by doing the Kubo block before returning to Accra to prepare for our filing tomorrow.
Wow.
And so we are interfacing with the party, and the indication is that the party wants change, and with change, it must focus on the right things, not just change, but change that leads to fundamentally making the party run the way it ought to run, which is from the bottom up and not the top down, which is what we have been doing. Right. And people have embraced that message, and so we feel ourselves to be in a strong position to win the election on October 3rd as the national first vice chairman of the party.
Right. Having declared your intention, very noble, but what makes you think this is the right time for you, really?
Well, the right time is always a time that you have to do something. And so, in other words, every day is the right time, provided you have the right solutions and you are confronted with a problem that you understand. The problem before us is clear. Our party lost an election, and our party people were downcast. They want answers. Sure. Those answers were provided through the post-election review committee, and the party has started working to rebuild. We had done something exceptional this time around, which include the selection of the presidential aspirant ahead of time before the internal reorganization. And that has helped us one way or the other. And so these are responses that were given to the party following the rather sad loss in December 2024. And so we're at a point where the party needs to contend and prepare to make sure that the defeat we suffered in December 2020 2024 is not repeated.
Right.
And the question confronting us and why this is the right time is that we have always done the same thing and expected a different result. And the result we got in 2024 is an indication that we can continue doing the same things.
Great.
And so it is the right time now for this reform agenda, which is a grassroots reorganization of the party, a grassroots administration of the party, a grassroots focused party administration to turn the fortunes of the party. So that instead of sitting and doing the same thing, which included running the party from top down, so that we'll have constituency officers that have been elected by polling station people, sitting idle till 6 months to election, and then the party machinery from the top will descend and in a hasty manner begin to push everybody into action when we had sat idle for a whole period. Is what actually is responsible in large part for what result we got, apart from other incidental matters that we'll get into. So this is the right time. As a candidate, having diagnosed the problem, having gone through the same problem as Director of Communication, which we'll get to, some aspect of it I can discuss. I feel that it will be derelict on my part if I sit on the fence and watch for my party to continue to do business as usual, but expect a different outcome. So this, for me, is the right time, and I feel myself to be the right candidate to cause this change, this reform to come about, because I've suffered it, I've gone through it, I see how it affected our fortunes and how our constituencies are left ideal for the period, the balance of time that they're in office until later on in the day. Then parallel structures are created. People come from the woodwork suddenly throwing new ideas on ideas that wells up from the grassroots. For people who live in the polling station who knows the problem to come up with the idea, but ideas that come from the top down and say, go do this, go do that, go do this, oftentimes don't lead us to the results we need. And so this is the right time, and I feel I'm the right candidate to lead that grassroots reform, to make our party stronger at the base, and they can carry anything we put on top.
Right. I mean, you're so widely known to be the mouth, with all intents and purpose, of the NPP. And given that the party is rebuilding and reorganizing, it's only expected that perhaps you will act where you are and do what you're very best known for. Doesn't your leaving the communications directorate and crossing over to become first vice chairman rather paint a picture of you abandoning ship?
No, well, abandoning ship would be for me to join NDC.
Oh, is it?
But if I'm still in the NPP, I haven't abandoned ship. But rather what I have done is I've climbed further so I can have a better view, have a bird's eye view of the issue. Having diagnosed it, you need to sit at a place where you can pinpoint that this is where the issue is, this is where the challenge is, let's go in and solve it. And so that's what I have done. Mind you that I said to you that I've gone through a certain regime as Director of Communication, which is not helpful, which has affected the optimal performance of the office in terms of the resource availability and some parallel structures that were created to constrain. And so the ascent to a higher position is to give me that visibility so we can lead reform that will fix that problem, so that the next Director of Communication will not suffer same. That the new crop of constituency executives that we have put in place will not suffer same, because I will then lead a reform to say that let's empower them, because that's where the work is. They are the officers mandated to do the work. So we adhere to the structure, resource the structure, follow the structure for the work to be done. That's the only way we can expect delivery and accountability in the delivery of our party's responsibility. So it is not, but it is for me a strategic climb up to have a position where you are involved in policy making and reforming the party for good. And with the ideas and the diagnosis that I have, we can input those in the reforms necessary to drive the party to where it ought to be. The party sits in Accra. So technically, if I want to give you a graphic representation of it, we had elected polling station people. They have elected constituency. Constituency have gone to elect region. Region will join constituency people to elect national on October 10th. Now what happens is that after October 10th in Kumasi, After the fanfare and everything dies down, the party moves from Kumasi, come and sit in asylum down, and it will stay there up until 6 months to election.
Right.
Up to 6 months to election. And that is a balance of time that is wasted. Time that will be used for organization, time that will be used for training, that time that we need to use for resourcing and networking at the polling station to build the relationship and confidence in our party that will translate to vote on December 7th. Those times all would have lost them. And then 6 months to election, people come from the woodwork and begin to direct from all manner of angles. Structures created that are not organic to the party structure begins to take hold and move the party in a direction to win an election. Human beings, as you know, as we are not switches that you go on the wall and flip us on. Everybody just say, hello, we are here to vote for you. No, it's relationship. We're emotional beings. So you need to have people have confidence in you. That this whole idea of when it's election, you come and tell me to go and vote for you is as an abuse of confidence between us, an abuse of trust between us. And people have come to learn that we cannot do that, because if we do that, it would mean that when I vote for you this election, I won't see you until 6 months to the election before. So what about the consequences that will result from that election? How do I get somebody to talk to deal with them? Because I voted for you and I expect a certain outcome, but I won't get you to have that conversation until 6 months to the next election. That is not encouraging. That has broken trust in our party at the base, which is the reason we're not performing. Remember, we didn't perform in the 2024 election. In fact, if there is any political party in Ghana, in this Fourth Republic, that has come close to winning a third term, it is the MPP. Which tells you that we have the capacity to do it. All we need to do is to do the right thing, strengthen the foundation of our party. As I told you earlier, this building is strengthened because of the foundation.
Sure, absolutely.
So the superstructure we are seeing is there because there's a strong foundation. But you know, in the last election, we assumed that the foundation was still strong. And so therefore we're going about making claims, looking at the superstructure, thinking that the foundation will hold it up. And on December 7th, 2024, our building collapsed. It crumbled. Now, in order to mount a strong challenge, we need to go and build that foundation.
Fix the foundation.
And ensure that it's in good shape to carry the superstructure for victory in 2028.
You have recently toured nearly the entire country. I don't know what region you've not been to, but what do you hear from the grassroots about your party and where it is today?
Well, generally speaking, the feedback from the ground is not quite what nationally you would say. The confidence in our party is still strong. What feedback that rings through is a disappointment of the people who carried the party to victory. So when you go to the ground,
these will be your grassroots.
Our grassroots. They feel unattended to, they feel not recognized because they have done a certain work, and that work they did in partnership with their polling station community members who believed in them and voted for them. And when the power, which then came from 2016, and you saw how massive the victory was in 2016, and they were not able, to let the people see the impact of the power based on the fundamental basic things that people would expect from you on the basis of access. So it's a simple thing as people getting postings because there's some challenge, they need to reversal, they need their child to go here and that, and polling station people who stood in for the party, who are the face of the party in the communities. Those people did not have what it takes to be able to get the necessary connections for people to be able to solve fundamental basic problems such as that. And also their own personal lives in terms of party recognition to transform, because see, we talk about the party being a polling station party. So every one of us are members of the party at the polling station. So you are not a member of the party at national or at a region. You are at a polling station, a member of the party. So your polling station is the party. And so when you are a polling station member of the party, an executive of the party, and your party is in power and you cannot assist anybody, then your role is invalidated and you are not able to influence anybody to support your party. Right. So we weakened our people on the ground in terms of, it's not about giving people money, it's about getting people jobs, it's about having basic political influence to solve everyday problems. They didn't have that to assist the people in the community. So the people lost confidence in them.
How about those who say you had 8 years to fix this, and so this in itself shouldn't be one reason you would point at?
Well, in terms of, so we're not talking about national, we're talking about internal matters.
Yeah.
So that goes to the leadership.
Sure.
That goes to the kind of leadership. That's why we're putting ourselves up to fix it. Because my understanding of party organization is that it happens, the job is on the ground.
On the ground, yeah.
And I'm not just saying that because it sounds good, but I understand that that's where the job is. And you know where the job is. The understanding is that if you must win election, you win from the polling station. Sure. So there is no other mechanism to win power but to focus and invest at the polling stations. But for years, our party sits at Accra.
Right.
And then they will wait. I have told you, I mean, this is public knowledge. Yeah. 6 months to election, then we are mobilizing, finding the money, going here, going there. And then it's a hasty environment. There is no rational, careful, thorough thinking. It's like we need to do it because we don't have time. We need to go because we don't have time. And then this rush leads to people being left behind. I mean, there are instances where, because of this haste, a campaign event to be organized, people would come, and when they are leaving, maybe even food, which was organized for them to eat, you don't know who to go to. And so people will come to this program, and then they will leave disappointed, they will leave angry, they will leave unattended to. That creates and breeds disaffection. And all of these things, if we had allowed the party to run from day one, we elected our constituency executives in July, and then our regional executives this August. If we get them positioned to start working from now, you won't need to rush.
Right.
You won't need to create any system on election day. Okay, well, let's have these people go and knock on doors. But the polling station would have been working from now till that time.
Yeah.
And the relationships you need at the polling station would have been formed. So on election day, everybody at that polling station knows what to do. Those who would vote for MPP would know that.
Sure.
The party would know through upward collection of data that at this polling station in 2024, we got, say, about 100 votes. But based on the polling station organizations, polling station meetings, polling station membership drives that we have organized over the last 3 years, we are in a strong position to say that if the elections were held today, given all these people, we can get about 300.
Right.
You know where you are going, even before the election gets to be organized. But where we leave it ajar and wait till 6 months to election, when we have all these officers in place, but idle for all this period, then we rush, we are shooting in the dark. You don't know what you're getting on election day. So everything is up for grabs on the day. And then you go to election and you get a shock, which was what we got on December 7, 2024. Right. But we say that if we do the right reforms now, we'll be well aware where 2028 is headed. And I can guarantee you, wherever it would head, it would be victory for the New Patriotic Party.
Thank you. You're watching the National Discourse. This is GBC News. My guest today is the Vice Chairmanship Aspirant for the NPP, Mr. Richard Ahiagbah, who once occupied the office of Director of Communications. He still is, I'm sure. I haven't heard him resign that position, have you?
No.
You haven't. Thank you very much. And so, being the Director of Communication would be markedly different from being the first Vice Chairperson or Vice Chairman. What organizational qualities do you bring on board to ensure that whoever you've been known for within the communications space will be different from who you will become if you're elected?
Well, thank you. So it's augmentation. You need what qualities you have or possess to be Director of Communication to serve as a base material for you to build on. Essentially, the role of chairman or vice chair of the party is to guide. It's a leadership role, is to cast a vision, which vision is cast for us by the constitution of our party to win political power. So we're advancing with that vision, and as a chairperson or vice chairperson supporting the national chairman, you are ensuring that all aspects of the party that requires adjustment, that requires guiding and shaping to align with the vision, which vision is to win political power, is your responsibility. So I can tell you with all humility that what you need to be an effective vice chairman or chairman of the party, if you like, in its bare form, is common sense. Common sense guided by the vision that the party's constitution has cast for you. And if you can just be within the balance of that and have the ability to work with people and engage, whether this person is your friend or not your friend, be able to work guided by the vision which has brought us together.
Sure.
Once you can work within the balance of that and have common sense that what I would want done to me is what I want to do to my neighbor, I think that you'll be an excellent first vice, you'll be an excellent chairman of this party.
Thank you. Given the kind of losses you incurred at the 2024 polls, what lessons, in your view, has your party learned, and how do you want to translate that, if you become the first vice chair, translate those lessons into practical change on the ground?
Yeah, I mean, there are probably two lessons, maybe more, but I focus on two.
Two, right.
The key thing, the fundamental one, is what I've told you, that we've been organizing our party from top down.
Right.
So we're strengthening the superstructure and not tending to the foundation. So that building, will not stand. Even if it stands, it will only for a period. And we saw it when the hour came and the storm came, it collapsed on December 7, 2024. Sure. So that is the principal lesson that we ought to learn. But additional lesson is the reason why the foundation collapsed, which is because we didn't take care of our grassroots. We didn't factor our grassroots in terms of what we were doing in party administration and in the exercise of power. Our grassroots were abandoned, they were neglected, they were talking, we didn't hear. You are aware that, following the election, we told this country, the NDC necessarily, and I believe that, the NDC didn't win the election, we gave them the election because we failed to take care of our grassroots. And the number that is often mentioned, that 2 million and more of our people didn't turn out to vote. That is the problem, because our people became disenchanted. They felt unrecognized. They felt that it was not worth sacrificing for the party, working for the party, because they felt not rewarded, for the work that they have done. And you saw that begin to come to the fore in 2020. When in 2020 we had the elections, what happened? Our numbers dropped.
Yeah.
Our numbers dropped from
and
160.
We had a hung parliament out of that.
169 parliamentary seats, all the way to about 136. 137 plus the loaner from Fomena to make us a majority, which majority was contested by the NDC. So it was a difficult place. That signal came because the same people who did the work in 2016 were there. They were there. But the question is, why didn't we get that? There was an internal cry of attention, which attention did not come. And so the election went the way it went. We should have learned. In fact, I was the executive director at Dankwa Institute at the time. And immediately after the 2020 election, we undertook a nationwide research, which research gave us that indication that we needed to look at the party internal and ensure that there is that attention given to the grassroots. It didn't happen. And then we went into 2024 thinking that if we can just paint the building a bit more, make it a bit more plush, add more decorations to it, we can win. And so we claim we want to break the 8. But meanwhile, the foundation carrying the building is weak, continues to weaken. We saw the weakness in 2020. We didn't fix it up. And we just continue painting it and believing that when we say we'll break the 8, we will break the 8. And that's where we've got to. So those are the cardinal issues that we must learn from here, apart from other ones. But going into 2028, having learned that lesson, I tell you that our party, the Elephant, is still large and alive. If we do the right things, we can reinvigorate the energy of the Elephant, and the Elephant will walk straight on to Jubilee House in December
I
2027.
haven't heard any member of your party put forward such vivid diagnosis of what accounted for your losses, especially where there is some denial of you're not taking care of your grassroots. But the way you put it gives me a certain understanding of you having had a bird's eye view and then also descended through it to touch base with your grassroots, and that has given you that. Now, there are those who also speak to what they refer to as cracks within your rank and file. Didn't that also contribute to where you got to? And if there exist cracks, how do you intend to fix that?
You know, the NDC won the 2024 election not because a perfect party.
Sure.
Okay, because we're a weakened party. The NPP was a weakened party.
Okay.
The NDC not being perfect means that they have cracks in their party as well.
Yeah.
Which cracks you are seeing, which cracks will deepen to historic proportions.
Wow.
In a matter of days.
They won't be happy with you.
Oh, of course, they know that. I'm not telling them anything they don't know. They know that.
Okay.
They've just been papering over it.
Okay.
And then, so it's just a matter of time. But the point I'm making substantially is that in a human endeavor, you will not expect a perfect situation, which is why you need to have a certain effort focus on the right things, so that the minor things to do with cracks here, disagreements there, do not distract from the major objective. So we don't have any division in our party that is so deep, that is so capable of undoing our forward march if we do the right thing, which right thing is empowering the resources that we need to the grassroots who will do the work ultimately.
Right.
If we focus on the right problem and deal with it the way we have to deal with it, all those cracks, supposed cracks, will pale in comparison to the force that will thrust us forward.
Right. In a recent ruling by the Supreme Court, political parties seem to have been dealt a blow that affect, among other things, how you even elect your leaders. By that ruling, delegates are no longer the individuals who have a certain standing within the party, but every card-bearing member automatically qualifies to. Will that affect your prospects or your party organization in any way?
Well, yes, it will affect it on the level of cost in administering those elections. But in particular, it will not affect what we're doing now, which is the internal reorganization of the party. So electing party executives, that ruling will not affect it. So our election will not be affected by it. Regional elections will not be affected. Constituency will not be affected. But what will be affected is the presidential elections and the parliamentary, internal parliamentary elections, which then presents a candidate for the general elections. Now, I disagree with the Supreme Court's ruling fundamentally, because what is trying to cure is a problem that does not exist. Because in the party, and in the nature of democracy, is representation.
Sure.
Okay, it's not direct democracy as we have it in ancient Greek, where people will have to be directly involved. So the Athenian model, where if you are, it's one man, one vote, in all situations, it's not what we are doing. We're doing representation. That is why a large constituency of 160, 170 people in Ketu South will have to select one. And that one MP will have to come to Parliament. When there's a bill, when there's a decision, a law that has to go through, she would vote our conscience. That is the supposition that the vote on December 7 for Honorable Ahiagbah, the MP for Ketu South, will make a decision on our behalf because we have reposed that power in her. And so when it comes to the party environment, the reorganization of a party starts from the polling station. And what that means is that the members of the polling station who are members of our party, with card-bearing members in good standing, comes together, as in this room, all of us here, assuming we are the members of the party at polling station A. So all of the cast here have come together and elected you and I to be in front of the camera.
Sure.
They are there doing all the things they are doing to ensure that we have a certain production that they too will have a stake in, because they did the background work, and you and I, who they have elected to be in front of the camera, are doing our portion. So at the end of the day, what work they did would result in a good production. So those 7 people that the people, the cast in the background have elected, in this case you and I, are supposed to make decisions on their behalf. Yeah. So any decision you make is a decision they have made. Any decision my MP makes in Parliament is a decision that we have made, who voted for him or did not vote for him. So the requirement that the Supreme Court is putting is already in place.
In place, all right.
Okay? So, but then they have forgotten that the 7, which is the delegates that they are focusing on, were elected by the larger population of the party. And building on the base of the party, which has selected the 7, it becomes a foundation to elect the constituency executives, which power the polling station vests in the constituency to go on and elect region, and the constituency joins the region to elect national. So if you look at it from the top, you make a mistake. But you have to go all the way down to understand that in this production, it's just not you and I who made it possible, that there are people behind the camera that made it possible. But the Supreme Court was only looking at you and I and said, why is it that you and I alone are doing this production, right? And forgetting that there are people,
the whole team behind us,
put it together. So the ruling, in my view, is defective in the sense that it forgot that this is a representative democracy, and the 7, which they are focusing on to be a small college of voters, and so therefore they are subject to corruption and monetary inducement, therefore clientelism, is probably taking the issue from the top without going down to see where those 7 people came. They have the power of the grassroots to be able to make the decision, and it's perfectly democratic. There's nothing wrong with it. Now, if the concern is the monetary issue, then it is not Supreme Court ruling, then it is law enforcement to deal with the money matter.
Right.
So they are using a ruling to deal with the money matter when we need law enforcement to be able to deal with the matter. So if we all agree that clientelism is bad for our democracy, then we have enough laws on the books to enforce, to get those people who are using money to induce democratic outcomes to stop.
Right.
That's where I think the issue is. But this ruling kind of turned the issue upside down and is giving us a ruling that I believe is really going to raise questions about how we do business even in Parliament.
Right.
Because the people in Parliament are voting people's conscience, and they are subject to procurement.
Sure.
The same way we think that the polling station constituency executives are subject to procurement, people in Parliament are subject to procurement. You have heard that matters, allegation that people get brown envelopes and all of this for finance committee to let things go through. So what would the Supreme Court do? Do a reform to say that every constituent comes to Parliament to vote? Because that is what they have created at the base. Because if a small group of people is a concern, that they are small enough that they can be induced, then Parliament, which represent 276 people representing all of us, is a small enough college sitting in Parliament that can be procured. And if they are procured, the understanding is that they will not vote our conscience. So if we can fix it at the polling station, then we ought to fix it in Parliament as well. So that is the absurdity that has come along with that ruling.
Let's look at policy. In 2016, among the many policies you brought forward through your manifesto was the free SHS, the 1 district, 1 factory, among others, including 1 village, 1 dam. Going into 2028, what policies, in your view, will the NPP have to look at redefining in order to make, or to, if you like, to energize your base?
Well, our base, energizing our base, not necessarily a policy issue.
Okay.
And so those will deal with in-house. But to win the confidence of the country is for us, far from policy, is to demonstrate that we are loyal to our values. We are, as a party, because all the policies that you will advance stems from your worldview.
Sure.
So our ideological position, which is a conservative, liberal market perspective that we bring to policy formulation, we must be loyal to that.
Absolutely.
So if you look at the business community, for example, they must be confident in us, because if MPP leads, the market is allowed to operate, and market will resolve the issues as the market will do. So there's minimal government intervention, which will distort the market.
Right.
So all we have to do is to create the environment for the market solutions to work, and so that everyone who has the industry and the capacity that he can go out there and leverage their God-given talent and make opportunities for themselves. That we will be the party, because we are loyal to our ideological position, will be the party that ensures that rule of law works. And when we say property owning democracy, all it means is that the legal regime would protect your property, will protect your labor. And that confidence must come again, that we are that party. And I think that if that confidence comes, and policies that well from that ideological position will be able to get the Ghanaian people to have confidence in us, that we are getting back to basics. And part of our policy reform perspective that we're bringing is for us to work in a way that reconnect the MPP back to our roots, which root will be the value system that has brought us to the fore, the value system that the Ghanaian people, when you look at the professionals, you look at the academia, you look at people in daily Ghanaians who feel they have a dream and want to pursue their dream, they can have that confidence in us that this party with this history, with these values, will give me the best chance to succeed. And we'll be able to win back the academia. We'll be able to win back the professional groups that felt that we had deviated from our value propositions and have become something other than what they thought we ought to be. We can win them all back. A key moment which undermine confidence in who we are, in our values, and what people would have staked their bets on. That if it comes to MPP, we know that this outcome will not be possible, or this outcome will be possible. What's the DDEP? Okay, that happened. Because as market people, it was antithetical for us to make a decision to affect people's investments.
Savings.
That's people's investment. And as I just told you, we as a party that believes in the rule of law are supposed to be the party that provides that environment for people to have confidence that their property cannot be taken from them. Their investment is safeguarded through adherence to the rule of law. So what is yours, and the law will defend it so that you have it.
Sure.
But we got to a point where it was almost impossible to move forward without taking the decision we took with DDEP. That is a critical moment where we needed to have paused and get back to the country and say, this is not who we are, but we have come to a point that we have to cross this river.
Sure.
And crossing this river, we have to make a certain decision that is unlike us. What do you think?
Yeah.
The options are two. Either we cross or we stay here and perish. And a country would come along with us.
Would have made that decision
To make that decision, join hands with us to say that, yes, we know you won't make this decision. As a matter of principle, you would have preferred to stay here and perish. But we give you the confidence that go ahead. This decision is a collective decision. We will not count it against you. We will not say that you have reneged on your promise, that you have disappointed us, because we believe that with you we can invest and have our investment. We believe that in you our properties will be protected. But somehow, where we have gotten to, we believe and we are confident in you that if we can cross this river by taking this difficult decision this one time, we will cross the river and you'll be able to make decisions in line with what we know you can do to get us back to where we have to get to. Akufo-Addo said that, and it is true, that indeed it is possible to sacrifice the economy to the extent that we can save lives, and once we save those lives, we can build it back. When we came face to face with that decision to make DDEP, this principle that Akufo-Addo advanced in saving Ghana, in saving a lot of lives, should have been activated. Then we get back to Ghanaians and say that, just like we did in COVID, we are facing a difficult task. Which task we must make a collective sacrifice to be able to cross over.
Right.
And we missed that opportunity. We took that decision in good faith, in understanding amongst the leadership to say that this is what we have to do to save our country. But the majority of people didn't know what decisions were taken, whether there were other possible decisions. Okay, and we took that, assuming that they will understand, but they didn't understand. Even though it is for the betterment of the economy, if we had consulted them, they would have bought in, but we didn't. Even though it's the only inevitable decision to be taken, we took it, and people were not happy with it, and that became our Waterloo.
Right, you're still watching the National Discourse. My guest is still the Vice Chairmanship aspirant. Let me come back to you on this. In an interview with a fellow aspirant for the same office, in the person of Mr. Mustafa Hamid, he mentioned how the NPP allowed itself to be blackmailed into losing its core fundamental identity and taking on one which is more of a character you can associate with the NDC. Do you share that view, that you allowed yourself to be blackmailed?
Dr. Mustafa Hamid is my senior. At DI, we have a certain bond so that those of us who have led DI, we have a certain caucus that will work together. So I think he's made a point, except that I don't share that view necessarily, because I don't think anybody can trick you into becoming who you are if you know what you are about. So we have not been tricked into becoming anything other than who we ought to be.
Right.
Is that we ourselves have made decisions that have led us here.
Right.
And we need to get back and correct those decisions. Those decisions are ours alone. To say that somebody tricked us or blackmailed us into doing it is to assert irresponsibility, is to blame others for what we ought to take responsibility for. And if you do that, you can't solve the problem.
Sure.
You will sit and be blaming and pointing fingers at others when you need to take responsibility. I think rather that we took our eyes off the ball, and we have opportunity now to refocus and reconnect with the values that makes us stand out, which is what I just told you, that as part of our reform agenda is to get the party to refocus on the values that makes us strong through training for our party members, intense training. We have an institute that has been established. That institute must work, and it must work now and resource properly. Every member of our party must have that orientation. Every member must have that orientation. Every executive of the party must have that orientation to know who we are. At a moment's notice, you should be able to render for anybody who we are as a party, so that if you're making a decision as a polling station executive, you are reflecting those values. If you're making a decision as a constituency executive, you reflect that values. If you are making a decision as an MP, arguing on the floor of parliament, you are reflecting that value. So those values become the lens through which you look at life. Those values become the lens through which you look at policy. And that will become how we change the situation and have people know us for what we are and see our action to reflect what they know us to be. And so my departure from him will be that we must take responsibility for what we have become, not blame others for tricking us to become who we are.
He suggested in that same interview that context in itself suggests or is a sign of division. Now, you're going into a contest where you have described a man as your senior. If you win, obviously, losers are not always happy, but they gracefully or graciously accept it. Will that crack be fixed as a collective, or that it would be a matter of, well, you lost, I won, let me focus on my job?
There are winners who are sometimes losers.
Oh, really?
Yes. And they are people who look at election in those terms, that I won, you have lost, and so I can't work with you. I won the election, you have lost, so push him aside. I won, you have lost, so therefore I am superior. No. Winning election is one thing. What is important is the work. And in doing the work, you need everybody's idea. I have this mindset, and which I built over the years, watching politics in the Americas until I came back home. And when I came to contest in 2018 and lost as General Secretary Aspirant, I didn't go back. I stayed here. I worked with the very people who I contested with. Today, myself and John Boyd, who is contesting for national chairman of the party, we have good relationship. I've worked with him as director of Dankwa Institute. The 2020 election, we worked together, supported his work, and achieved what victory, even though it was a difficult one, we achieved that together. And so you have to have a certain mindset, which is fundamentally the party, not the role.
The individual or the role.
So if you understand that you are coming to serve the party's interest, you can lose, but you will win, because your ideas must be carried on.
Sure.
I believe that if we win this election, we must organize from the grassroots. We must go and make amends at the grassroots and let them know that this is where we are going to win from, and we are going to be here with you, we are going to win with you. And when we win, the mistakes that we made in the last 8 years, we will not take the power with us to Accra, but the decisions to retain that power will be made with you who work to bring the power. That is a fundamental concept that must work. If you say that I have lost an election, which I know I will not, if the party is alive to what must be done to win the election, I don't think that any delegate who is going to vote then don't want the party to win. And this idea is how we're going to win. So if this idea is there and you will not implement it, then it means that you, the executive, you don't want to win. Because there is no other formula by which you're going to win the election but at the police station. Right? And we must win 2028. Let me make this point. In 2028, the New Patriotic Party's victory must be resounding. It must be a victory that is compelling, a victory that is disarming to the NDC, so that it doesn't trick them into thinking that there is some operations they must do.
Do you want to predict any margins?
Well, it would depend on the work. So it will be premature to predict anything. But I'm saying that the victory must be so overwhelming that is confounding to the NDC, that even if they have anything from left field they must implement to try and use security to structure things and curtail whatever, they would be completely immobilized, because they will see that Ghana has spoken with such a loud voice. Any effort to sit on that victory will amount to an explosion or implosion, and so therefore they won't touch it. And I know President Mahama to be a Democrat enough, when he sees the writing on the wall, he won't even try it. And so that's what level of work is required. And that level of work, you don't do it by feeling I have won. Because if you have won and that's all there is, then we have lost before we start working. So it is a victory that must come, a victory that must go with work, and the people must be willing and ready, prepared to come down and not sit in Accra. So I think that if anybody wins, I will be available to work with them. I will support to ensure that wherever I am, we get the work done.
So you haven't formed any alliances yet?
No. In terms of
you are not in camp with any of the chairmanship aspirants yet?
No, unfortunately, at the national level, there is no such teams that are formed. But I have maintained a position that regardless of who wins, I can work with them.
Fantastic.
Because it is about the party, not about the individual. I can work with anybody, and I've shown to work with anybody. Unfortunately, it's people who are like, oh, Richard, let's try to silence him, let's try and put him here. But as far as I'm concerned, all of those things have not deterred me. Insofar as it's party work, I will be present for us to do it. Resource or no resource, I will be there to do it. For the past 4 years as Director of Communication, I've not been given party vehicle, all right, to even do the work, but I'm present. I'm working. I use my friends' resources. You know, when I was going to Kumasi for party work, when I had that accident, that car that I was driving was not mine, it was for a friend's. I wrecked it. I wrecked it for him, a new Ford Expedition. I borrowed because I had to go to Kumasi on a flight. But then I learned later that the flight might be delayed. And so though my team had taken the lead, and I have to be there for a meeting in the morning. So I decided at 11, I would go. And I called a friend, give me a vehicle. I took it, I drove it, I wrecked it. Party had not given me a vehicle to do that. The resources that I have to do the work with was not there. You are there as director, you see the resource that must come to you is given to somebody else and they are doing your work. But that has not deterred me.
Sure.
If not today, you wouldn't know.
No,
and I've maintained that discipline because I believe it's about the party, not about individuals. And those who are in the party in positions using their influence to deny a certain person the resource to do the work don't understand what they are doing, because what they are doing to me is not me, but you're doing it to the party.
Thank you.
And ultimately we suffered. And I hope as National First Vice, the reforms that we'll bring, the structure will be allowed to work. Whoever is given a task to do will be resourced to do it, so we can exact accountability from that person for what resource they have and for what the outcome is.
Let's try and go towards conclusion now. And so you're still watching the National Discourse. My guest is still Mr. Richard Ahiagbah, Communications Director for the New Patriotic Party, who's currently aspiring to become the first vice chairman for the party as the party rebuilds, reorganizes, and looks forward to grabbing power again in 2028. Your party seemed to have suffered a certain loss as a result of one of the many things you have mentioned. But there are those who argue that it is unforgivable to think that you are losing your grip on the Ashanti region as your stronghold. Do you share that view? And if it is the case, what do you bring on board as elected vice chairman to really bring back the love in the Ashanti region?
What you care about, you protect.
Absolutely.
What you care about, you care for.
Maya Angelou, what you don't like, you change.
Yes. To the extent that Ashanti is the balance of votes that propels the MPP to victory, we shouldn't take it for granted.
Absolutely.
But we have taken it for granted. And that's where we are, where we are.
Really?
Yes. Well, that's where we are, where we are. And if we will change and deal with Ashanti region with the same understanding as we deal with people everywhere, our party will be stronger. The people in Ashanti region don't vote for the party because they are blind.
No.
They don't vote for MPP because they don't think. They vote for the party because they believe in the party. They vote for the party because they believe in the value systems of the MPP.
Absolutely.
In comparison to the NDC, they believe that it is the MPP that can develop Ghana. They believe in that. They believe in that. And as I told you earlier, human beings, we are not like a light switch.
A light switch, yeah.
We have emotions. We have expectations. And which expectations must be met. But if you see that somebody who is benefiting from a certain collective effort, and you are sidelined, you are not recognized, much less appreciated for what you have done. Naturally, as human behavior will determine, you advise yourself.
Sure.
And that is why even the good books talk about do unto others what you expect them to do unto you. It's a timeless principle that we need to implement. So if Ashanti is our bulwark, we must deal with Ashanti with that commensurate love. We haven't. Unfortunately, we've had people from Ashanti who claim that, oh, we are Ashantis and so vote for us and we'll do ABC. They have led the party, but they have not served their people. And often they take it for granted that because they are Ashanti, when they are voted for, they don't go and serve their people. And I even believe that even where we are, voting for a non-Ashanti to lead the party will even endure to the benefit of the party because they will realize that before we can win is Ashanti. So they'll go there and serve the people in Ashanti better than the people who come from Ashanti region, who claim the region, but when they get opportunity, they don't go to serve their people because why? They say, yeah, I am Crawford. That is what leads to taking advantage and taking people for granted. I believe that in this election, the voters in Ashanti region should take that as a cue and go there and vote for people who will serve them, not people who come from Ashanti, people who will serve them so that their vote will count towards the victory of the MPP. So for me, Ashanti is strong. Ashanti remains loyal to the MPP. What the NDC is doing, we can undo and get Ashanti where it always has been for the New Patriotic Party if we, the leadership, gets down. And by God, if I become the first national vice, Ashanti will be a priority. We'll go there, organize, make sure what is due Ashanti is given, prioritized and given the resources to mobilize on the ground to bring back the love that will propel us to victory.
On that Ashanti note, your Ashanti regional minister, who is currently has issues with the law and incarcerated, has also declared his intention to contest for a chairmanship position. Isn't that in contravention to your party's constitution and also the national constitution, given that he's been incarcerated? Whether, it cannot be described any other way.
Well, let's set the national constitution aside and look at the party constitution. Sure. So maybe you give me a good opportunity to clarify something I said a while ago, and people thought that, Richard says,
by all means,
Would-to-be can contest. Yes, our constitution talks about exclusion when you have that problem as a convict.
Yes.
You have to serve a certain time before you are qualified to be able to contest in an internal election. But two things. We, the party, believe, okay, so let me come first of all. If you look at what Wood-to-be is jailed for, okay, we think that he is being hounded, because you look at a situation where an individual is tried in collaboration with another who is also an accused, but then procured by the state to testify against Wood-to-be, okay? Now, the person procured to testify against Wood-to-be is the one who has done the thing that Ghanaians are objecting to, which is galamsey.
Okay.
On Wood-to-be's concession.
Right.
Now, that man has come to testify against Wood-to-be for allowing him to go and do galamsey.
Yeah.
Now, if you look at that, you are wondering, what has happened here? That the man who did the crime, that Ghanaians say galamsey is bad, is killing and is destroying our forests and all of that, is aligned with the state to punish the one that we're saying that there is a paper requirement that says that before you let somebody onto your concession, you must obtain the approval of the minister. And the man says, yes, I asked this man to go on my concession, not that I'm allowing him to go mine, but to go rehabilitate the place. And in doing that, I did it verbally. I didn't sign it off.
Yeah.
So for me, it didn't count as transferring or assigning that concession to him. Therefore, didn't obtain a permission. But if I were signing it off to him, in other words, in you and me situation, GBC sent you out here to be the one who does the interviews.
Yes.
If suddenly we've come here and we change the role, and you are the one being interviewed and I'm the one interviewing you, GBC should know that.
Of course.
Right? And approve. But why are you the interviewee when Richard should be the one, be the interviewee and you be the interviewer? We must know before that becomes the case.
Yeah.
But if by happenstance we are here and I ask you a question, which question may be rhetorical and you decide to answer it, it's not the same as me becoming the interviewer and you become interviewee. It's just a matter of conversation that I ask you that. So you have the man who has done a galamsey now in a dock testifying against the man who merely ask him to go and do rehabilitation, and all of us in this country think that it's okay for a man to go to prison for. New Patriotic Party, we think that that is not justice. And so the party, led by the General Secretary of the party, gave a press conference and said that Wood-to-be is a political prisoner. So for us as a party, that ruling against Wood-to-be is not a crime in the true sense of the word that he's committed.
Okay.
In other words, he is a prisoner of conscience. He's a prisoner because he's MPP. You understand? So that's the situation that the party understands. So now if you come to apply the party constitution, and we, the party, has taken a certain position to say that he's a prisoner of conscience. And he's a political prisoner, are we the same people to say that he's a convict? Because what we have said nullifies the criminality of the crime. So you know that I'm framed. And because you know that, you don't call me a thief.
No.
You get it?
I get you.
And so that's the situation. Right. But of course, I am not saying one thing or the other. Others can make that decision.
Sure.
It's not mine to make.
Sure.
But I'm only saying that when, as a party, we have said that about his crime, then we should also look at it where we're saying that he's a convict and therefore should not be able to come to contest.
I'm
so for me, it is not a decision to say, let him contest because of what, but I'm just saying that we need to be consistent in the things we say.
Yes.
At the end of the day, I think that we'll have a great chairman who will be able to lead our party, whether to make contest or not. And we must do the essential work. That is a fundamental thing. So we can elect Jesus to lead our party. If we continue to sin, we will not go to the kingdom of heaven.
Sure, absolutely. Thank you very much. You're still watching the National Discourse, and at this point, I am almost wrapping up with my guest, Mr. Richard Ahiagbah. To wrap it all up, I want you to look into this camera and address delegates who on that day will make the decision as to who becomes the first vice chairman.
Thank you. Well, to my fellow delegates, on October 3rd, you will make a consequential decision that determines whether our party wins on December 7th, 2028, and forms government on January 7th, 2029. That decision must include people who lead this party from Kumasi that understands that the strength of our party is at the base, that the strength of our party, which is at the base, must be resourced, must be energized, must be supported to start working from that 3rd October 2026 all the way to December 7, 2027. That leadership must understand that the strength of the party is on the ground. So therefore, when they leave Kumasi on the 3rd, they don't stay in asylum down, but they come down to the constituency with you to work in a way that helps the MPP build the relationships on the ground, the networks on the ground, organize at the polling station to ensure that we strengthen the foundations of our party before we begin to build on it towards 2028, December 7th. If we do that, victory will be ours. If we do that, victory will not only be ours, it will be resounding. It would cast across this country, and the NDC will know it, and they will not try anything funny to subvert the will of the people. I present myself to you as a candidate who will support the national chairman as first vice to be able to retool our party from the ground up to achieve that objective. Support my bid, vote for me, but it shouldn't end there. Join with me in a partnership to advocate for this reform, to bring it about so our party can be victorious on December 7th and form government on January 7, 2029. I count on your vote, and I promise I won't disappoint you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You have heard him. He counts on your vote, and he promised not to disappoint you. Mr. Ahiagbah, it's been a pleasure speaking to you. Thank you so very much for speaking to us on the National Discourse. Until I come your way again with another edition of the National Discourse, keep watching GBC News. My name, as always, is Darrell Alan Tego. Thank you very much.